I'm not invincible. You know what I mean? That this is the real world. I actually, so I got to a point with that specific incident where I was so traumatized by it that I was not driving again. I was not, right. I am not driving. I think it actually started with, I'm not going back out. Like the first couple of days I was like, or the first day I was like, I'm not going back out. But in basic training, I had a drill sergeant. His name's Drill Sergeant Waters, or Sergeant Waters now. First Sergeant Waters, let me give him his respect. Dude, phenomenal man. So I messaged him on Facebook while I was in Afghanistan right after the IED happened. And I basically told him what happened and honestly told him how I felt. Like, I'm scared to go back out. I don't want to get blown up again. And he was like, hey, look, man, I get it. I've been there, but you're going back out again. And that's what you have to understand. That is your job. You're most likely going to get blown up again too, but you have to do your job. And that kind of just, I was like, you're right. You're exactly right. I'm not driving. So I actually haven't driven. I didn't drive for 5 years after Afghanistan. I'm driving now, obviously. Wow. Yeah. I almost killed 4 other people. And I can't have that I couldn't have that responsibility again. I still have issues driving with somebody in my vehicle with me. Wow. I'll do it, but I feel very icky doing it. So yeah, that was the first. I got blown up a second time. It was not that at all. There was no fire. It was good. It was not detrimental at all. One of our dudes got sent home because of it. Bravo actually got sent home. That was his 3rd concussion. So he got sent to Germany. He actually had lesions on his brain, and then he got sent back home. Yeah. So that was the first one. So that kind of is really one of the things that caused my PTSD. So then I'm sure we'll get to the rest of 2 more of the deployment, but I came back from that deployment. I was all full of piss and vinegar. You know what I mean? I was an infantryman. I came back E3 with a CID. I was hot to trot. Nobody was telling me anything. And then President Obama declared the war in Afghanistan over. So my unit that I was with in Afghanistan was made specifically for that. So we got disbanded through the Fort Bliss. So I ended up at 177 Armored, and they said, hey, we're deploying to Djibouti, Africa in 4 months. Do you want to come? You're going to have to waive your dwell time. And I was like, and see, he swears he didn't do this, but there's a first sergeant Rod. He said, your leave will be doubled. We still here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Your leave will be doubled. So obviously that's not happening when you're under, you know what I mean? I waived my dwell time, but my leave would be doubled. But me being a dumb little kid thinking, all right, I'll trust him. I talked to him after the deployment. He's like, I never said that to you. I was like, bro, come on. Yes, you did. I was so pissed. So on that second deployment, my parents started getting a divorce. My dad was a very, I don't know him anymore. So he was alcoholic, drugs, all that kind of stuff. So he, was not a good individual. While I was not a good person. So I didn't talk to him at all. And they started the divorce, and my mom needed help financially with the divorce. That costs a substantial amount of money. And so I helped her with that. And that's kind of when, so this is actually one of the memories that Michael Manning, one of the main memories I have of him. So I had Michael Manning wasn't my squad leader in Africa, but he was one of them. You know what I mean? He was like, so the other one was Sergeant Wood. So Sergeant Wood was my squad leader. I was in the middle of this conversation with my mom about the divorce payment and all this stuff, and I was about to be late for PT. So I texted Sergeant Wood real quick, or Facebook message and whatever it was, and said, hey, I'm going to be late. This is why, blah, blah, blah. Every day Manning would see me. Can I curse on this or no?
You could, yeah.
Okay, so every day Manning would see me, fuck you, Lombard. And I'd be like, oh. So I had come from this conversation with my mom, and he went, fuck you, Lombard. And I
awesome.
You know what I mean? I was in a messed up state of mind. And he saw that. He was like, oh shit, what? So he asked Sergeant Wood what my deal was, and he told him, and he was like, Lombard, here, now. And you know him. You know how. And I was like, oh,
Hulk smash.
He was, Lombard needs a hug. And I was like, dude, didn't say it. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to start crying right now if I hug this man. And he made me hug him. And I had to force that thing down and not cry. Yes, Michael Manning So then when I came back from Africa, I started therapy, and I got in contact with the other co-founder of Project Refit, James Corbett. So him and I have a mutual friend. So when I came on leave from Afghanistan, him and I met at the bar. I was drunk, so he met me basically. So I posted on Facebook when I got my medical discharge, when I got my percentage, and like, hey, I'm going home, it's guaranteed. I posted on Facebook basically saying to my support system and the people who I was coming home to that, hey, look, I'm not who I was when I left. I'm different now. I have a few things added on to me and a couple things taken away, to be honest. So he saw that as a sign of leadership. So he hit me up and basically asked what the military does to prevent PTSD from happening, and then suicidal attempts from happening, and then how do they combat it if they occur. And I was in the middle of a med board. I was a very angry person, and it still is pretty true. They don't really do anything. They don't set you up for success. They don't do anything. So I said that, and I was in therapy, and therapy is an hour long, and I have entirely too many things in my mind to say in an hour. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell you how the last hour was in an hour, but I need a substantial amount of time to, one, process, you know what I mean? Put it in line, what I want to say, how I want to say it, who I want to say it to. So James and I were talking, and I said, yo, man, we were messaging. It was like books on Facebook. And I was like, dude, can we just do like a video call, please? Like, I need this. I need to see that you care what I'm talking about. This hurts to speak of. I don't want this to be wasted words. And he was like, yeah, dude, like, let's go. So we video called for 4 hours straight. And it was me just thought. Whether they were valid or not, it was just spewing whatever was in my mind that was corrupting me because I had repressed so much stuff. And it was right there that we realized, we were like, oh, this is a thing. And I was at a point where I truly believed I had to talk to somebody who had gone through what I went through for them to understand. What I didn't understand was they don't need to understand. You just need to have an unbiased sponge to throw your thoughts at. That's all it was. And that's essentially how Project Refit got started in 2017, by the way. So we've had our 501c3 since September of 2017.
So that's a good run right there. That's 5 years now. So
yeah.
And so you've been helping not just veterans, but you have the first responders in this too. And a lot of people try to separate the two of them, but I think the two of them, families, first responders, and veterans, they intertwine a lot because of all the things that we go through and they go through as well. Most of them go through it on a constant basis, whereas the military guy and gal go through it in short spurts. We get the blur, like the 249 blur shooting off. Yeah, I'm in the fight now, and we come home.
We're cops and the EMT and first responders are cycling. They're full cycling.
Yeah. It's every day, and
I don't think people realize that. I think there is something that, and this is what we talk about in Project Refit. So I've been through some stuff. You know what I mean? Like, right. There's people who have been through far more. There's people who have been through far less. It's not comparable. That's just really what it is. What I was just at a high school today for Veterans Day, talking to a bunch of students, and I said they're 14 years old. There's things that you have gone through that I would not be able to control or be able to understand and fathom. Like, they're your experiences. Don't compare them with other people's. It's not fair to yourself. The way you process things are entirely different than the way somebody else does. It's just a disservice to yourself if you're thinking, and I think that's what the military breeds, because see, Manning was one of the good leaders, but that's far and few between. There's so few good leaders anymore because they see the bullshit in it. They get phased out. It's so toxic. And then we sit there and it's, all right, look, he's not getting help. He's been to 6 deployments. Why would I get help? I've only been to 1. He's lost 14 dudes to suicide. And it's a pissing contest, and you're pushing yourself deeper into the hole. And it's just not, like I said, it's a disservice to yourself.
Exactly. I mean, I have a real good friend who's a detective in our hometown here in Clarksville, Tennessee, but he was also my soldier in the 90s. He's still in the service now as a sergeant major. So how do you how do you equate that as being a soldier all that time, seeing all the things you've seen, being deployed, taking care of all the soldiers you've seen, and then also taking care of your community and making sure your community is fine? It's a hard nut to crack. And how do we take care of all of us at the same time? And that's, I think, what you're bridging that gap through Project Refit.
Yes. So we have, so we've grown. So we started out obviously small. It's still grassroots, and I think that's why it works. I think there is no clinical element to it all. We encourage clinical therapy. We encourage people to go to therapy, but we're not going to, you know what I mean? We're the conduit between all of it. So I think all right, first off, we have Zooms every Monday and Friday. We have Zooms 9 p.m. Eastern until roughly about midnight. The Monday Zooms are live streamed to Facebook. So that's where sometimes I'll go on there and talk about my time in Afghanistan, my time in Africa. I have a suicide attempt after that. I'm open about those things so that people watching see that I'm talking about this with zero care whether people hear what I'm talking about. I do not care about what people think, because there's people feeling this that are going to try and do it. And if they hear this, they might not. So your judgments are all well and fine, but there's people who need it. And then the Friday Zooms are private. They're not live streamed to Facebook. Anybody can join it. It's a closed, you know what I mean? It's not broadcasted anywhere. They're topic based. We have rules. There's 4 rules. So like I said, we're topic based, but it's not the Bible. You know what I mean? It's not like, it doesn't have to be, if somebody comes in and they have something they want to talk about, guess what? You're the topic now. That's what the topic is. It's as simple as that. We also do retreats. So in June of this year, we flew out 12 veterans, a first responder and her son, and we camped on a ranch in Colorado for 6 days. Stillwater Ranch. Let me shoot them out. Thank you, Wendy. Love you all. So we camped like tents camping on a ranch. They had I want to say around 10, 12 horses, couple goats, some ducks, all that kind of, it was
not
beautiful.
New Jersey is what you're saying. Not New
Jersey. Like, I mean, you woke up and you unzipped the tent and it was just valleys of gorgeous, and not like triggering valleys, not El Paso desert mountainous valleys, beautiful, lush, different colors, gorgeous, just aesthetically pleasing. So every day at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. we would have a scheduled event: fly fishing, horseback riding, hiking, archery, that kind of, we went to the range. We met the guys who took us to the range. Hold on, my brain. Wow, squirrel there. Woo! It's the IED. That's the IEDs. They took us back to their factory and showed us like how they make the weapon, like the guns and all that. It was so cool. But none of it, like if you came and you didn't want to do those things, don't. If you want to go eventually, bring someone with you. Don't go alone. We don't want you. You don't want to lose you. You know what I mean? But go out and explore, have fun. It's a vacation for you, essentially. We paid for it. It's not. There's nothing at your expenses. I mean, if you're buying trinkets and shit, then. But you know what I mean. But the only thing that we had mandatory is at 8 p.m. every night. We had a bonfire, and there was a circle of chairs around the bonfire. And we had several individuals come to our retreat specifically for that. They didn't give a shit about what events we were doing. They wanted the opportunity to speak. It's that simple. So there's a couple, I'm not going to name them, but there's 2 dudes specifically that they opened up. And I mean, one dude talked for an hour and a half and has issues with alcohol. And we visited, so he talked for at least an hour and a half. It may have been close to 2 hours. And that was him telling his story, and then people in the circle being devil's advocate or planting seeds or just asking questions to expand the thought process, any of that. And then it would go to the next person, and then that guy would, or that would, because we had 2 females with us too, so it wasn't just all men. And some of these people haven't seen combat, so it's not just a combat vet thing. It's for anybody, really. But yeah, there's something we have found about. So I'm not a big reader. I don't like reading books. I get bored very easily. My attention span is that of a gnat. So you got to catch me fast in the book. You know what I mean? So I read this book. It's by Dr. Edward Tick. It's The warrior's soul returning the soul from war. Maybe I may have butchered that a little bit, but look up Dr. Edward Tick, and it's one of his 3 or 4 books. So the very, very, very first paragraph says, the king god Odin, Odin, he gave his eye for wisdom. He literally sacrificed his eye for wisdom. So maybe our PTSD is our sacrifice for wisdom, because we can grow in ways that people who do not have PTSD, who have not experienced trauma, we can grow in ways they can never until they do experience it. And then he mentioned in this book about the tribal times, Aztecs, Mayans, that kind of tribal time, that when their warriors would go out and fight in war, when they would come back, they would have these long wooden planks with spikes in them, and every single person in the village leaned into it, and they bled, and they all felt pain. So there was no PTSD because we all felt the same level of pain. They literally did that. That was an actual custom. So I feel that in the military, so I think we've evolved through time. We don't have that tribal mentality anymore. It's just not there. We're very individualistic. It's all about us. It's me, 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 me. Just that's how we are. We've lost that tribal mindset. I think in the military and these first responder roles, and I'm going to skip really quick or pause. Firefighter, EMS, cop, and dispatch. We consider dispatch first responders also. They are hearing all of it as it's happening. You are lumped in with us. Don't you worry. So if you're a dispatcher listening, reach out, and you have a home with us. Cool. I shouldn't have done that because I squirreled.
You went on a little path there. It's good though. It's awesome, and like you said, we're all part of the same family at that point.
Yes.
And your organization has got us all into this, I guess, intertwined, and a lot of people don't want to see it that way, but we are all in the same boat. They can't turn theirs off. We can turn ours off once when we raise our hand. We know there's an end date. We know there's an end date once you raise your hand to enlist or re-enlist. You know there's got to be a time when we stop. We got to take off that uniform. We got to throw those boots off of the wire at our base, and we go home. And at that time, they can't do that. They go home at night. They say hello to their wife, their kids, and they go back the next morning and they protect their communities, and they serve and protect, or they go running into that fire. Or they go running in to help that person that's at the worst point of their life. That's when they meet that person at the worst point of their life, and that's every day they meet that person. So it's a lot harder.
I think also with us, we knew when the dangerous times were. Hey, I'm going on deployment. That's my danger. Every day, they don't know what day's a good day, what day's a bad day. Like not knowing, and I think that's with us, with people with traumas. I think the fear of the unknown is our biggest enemy. We need to know what's next. We need to know the outcome, or we're not. At least it's at least anxiety inducing, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think people take into consideration the especially the people who are doing it, the first responders. It's part of the job. Bro, you're not supposed to see dead children. You're not.
Every day.
You're not. You're living hundreds of lifetimes. So you're going through all of that that chips away at your psyche and your soul a little bit. Whether you believe in those types of things or not, it does.
Right. And it's hard to get that off of your chest and out of your head. And that's why I started my podcast. My podcast, when I first started, was just for veterans hey, come on here and tell me your story. Because I know if you tell your story, it gets that burden off of your chest. It lets you breathe. It says, hey, I did this. Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, but I can talk about it, and you're here to listen. And for your side, you had first responders as well. And later on in my show, about a year in, I said, hey, let me lump them in as well, because I have a lot of both that are crossbreed.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, most people get out and go, or a lot of people get out and go and be a first responder. So it just makes sense to mix it together.
And to have them both on here and say and tell me their stories and tell me what they're doing now and what they did then, just to get them to feel a little better about where they are in the present time.
Yeah.
And if you can't live in the present, right? If you can't live in that present right now, it hurts. if you're always thinking back to like where you got blown up or where I got blown up, you're never going to come forward. You're never going to make it out of that. You have to start pushing forward. You have to dig in that trench and move forward. If not, then it becomes a spiral into the darkness.
You know, it's funny you say that. So on one of my on the Afghanistan deployment, in one of the patrols, we had we were on the Hardball Road, and we had a white sedan was like moving in between, weaving in and out of our formation, going up. And I was the lead vehicle. It was I don't remember, 50 cal, I think it was, but I had pen flares on me. So my squad leader was like, "Hey, if he doesn't move, you shoot the pin flare and make him move." I said, "Cool." Did it? Didn't move. He's like, "Do it again. If he doesn't move, open fire." I was like, "Shit." Oh god. So because in my mind was racing. Like, what if that's a V-bid? Like, am I going to shoot it and blow it? Like, then it's my fault. All this crazy stuff. So I fired another one, and again he didn't move. So I pointed the 50 cal at him, and but I think so. I don't want to say road rage, but a little bit.
A tad bit, yeah.
Dude. If there is somebody within a car length of my car, see, she's laughing. The back of the neck when the back of my hair stand up. So she said it. So she said, "Babe, I think you live in the rear view." And I said, "Babe, you don't understand how much that's meant in more than one way, like 100%." And that got me thinking. I was like, "Oh shit, that wasn't a joke. I actually do live in the rear view. I'm in this exact situation. I'm engulfed." So I talked to my therapist all the time. It wasn't until like a month ago, like this revelation, I couldn't pinpoint why I was feeling that way when that was happening. I didn't know if I'm just like some jerk who just gets pissed off. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know if it was just anger, but I genuinely think it was the simple fact of if that was a V-bid, could have died. The implication that it was going to happen, I think scarred me a little bit. And that's why anytime I'm like, "Oh, I need to get, like, I speed away from and then I'm up against somebody, but that doesn't bother me at all. So I definitely think good.
And I can imagine you driving on the Turnpike or the Parkway in New Jersey, especially how drivers are up there, how tense it must be for you having been in the action and then being there, and how they drive. You probably have fingerprints in your steering wheel right now. It's probably gripped in there. It's probably already death gripped in there, and you're driving up and saying, "Damn, these people just don't understand what they're driving next to right now." And how many other people around you also are you that are driving next to you that you don't even know? It's
exactly.
Crazy.
It is. Like, you don't know. Like, I have no idea if the guy I'm mad at that's trying to merge next to me is a combat vet who is also having anxiety driving right now. Like, yeah. So my only issues driving now are, like I said in the beginning, after those IEDs, after the second IED was, like I said, less than 100 pounds. It wasn't fun. I'm sure it did something, but I don't know. It's the main one, the one where I was on fire. I didn't drive for 5 years. Yeah, I mean, like, it was a big thing. I actually had some of the kids at the high school I went to, they laughed and then they apologized, and I was like, "No, look, I tell this story in a way that allows you to laugh. I do that on purpose, so it's not awkward for any of us. You know what I mean? Like, we can all laugh at the stuff I'm saying." So I didn't drive for 5 years. It's still even to this day, it's rain or snow. If there's ice, I'm not leaving my house. It's that simple.
Right.
I can't. I don't have the wherewithal to process how it's not guaranteed that I'm going to spin out and crash and kill somebody or myself. With rain, obviously, that's the same weather that I was in when. That's ingrained there. You know what I mean? If it was sunny, I would have an issue driving in the sun.
It's another trigger, basically. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's actually something when I was in therapy in the very beginning, when I was in the military, I did CPT, which is cognitive processing therapy. And for anybody who hasn't done that or doesn't know what it is, there's CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. And that's changing how you behave. It's figuring it out, mapping it out, and seeing what behaviors you want to alter, and then showing you how to do it. Where cognitive processing therapy, you focus on a specific trauma. So for me, it was the IED. And when I went into this therapy, I had 24 triggers. We mapped them out. 24. it was a 12 or 13 week program, hour or 2 hour long sessions each time. By the end of the therapy, I had 4 valid triggers. All the other ones were just negative emotions that, you know what I mean? That you the rabbit holes that you go down. You sit there and process like, all right, what's happening here? I'm not going to get into all that therapy stuff, but that's kind of what opened my eyes to it, I guess. And like, I've never driving, even to this day, like if there's trash on the road, like I know where I'm at. I know I'm in America. The only time, well, I'm still swerving. I'm not going to want to ride over it for my car's sake, but I don't think it's a bomb. So the other 2 months ago, I got rear-ended. Guy was going like 35, 40 miles an hour. I was at a stop sign, and he rear-ended me. So I haven't been in a car accident since I've gotten blown up. Wow. And I've always been wondering, like, how similar is it going to feel? Because I've been in car accidents before it, and it felt pretty close. So I got rear-ended, and honestly, for about 3 to 4 seconds, I was back in Afghanistan. I was in combat. Like even like the rain was there, and then like I blinked and I saw like the restaurant that was there. I was like, all right, there's clearly no Amy's in Afghanistan. I think we're all right now. And I came back to reality. But so I got my answer. it will feel a little bit like an IED.
Definitely, and it brings it all back to light when things happen. It may not be the 100-pound boom off the side of the road. It might just be that car ramming into the back of you because they're not paying attention, or whatever happened in their car to hit you, and you don't know what your reaction is going to be at that time. Earlier we were speaking about the correlation between first responders and the military. My son-in-law is a corrections officer, and I think that's another area that it needs to be addressed as well. My daughter, she posted here, her spouse, he works currently every day. He's in the jail, and anything can happen. She doesn't think people realize how tense that atmosphere is. He says it's his job, but he's also in the jail too, and that's something we got to understand, that they're in that situation with people that don't care about where they are anymore because that's where they are. And my son-in-law is in there. His job is to ensure not just the safety of his fellow workers, but the other inmates as well. So he's basically he's almost an inmate in there as a paid employee. So it's kind of a rough job, not just for him, but also my daughter as well.
Now, is he prior military?
No, he's not. He went into that after high school.
Just because, I mean, military go right into corrections officers also, especially the combat infantry, the combat roles go into the I think that should be included. I think we're gonna have a talk with our board, in all honesty, about that one. That's got me thinking.
Yeah, so that's another area where they don't have a way to basically exit.
They have no resource.
Always there, right? There's no recourse out of that, and that's another area where we have to think, hey, how do we help them as well? Yeah,
absolutely.
So we talked about we talked a lot about everything that we and you have gone through, and how it affects us, and how the first responders we are affected, and a little bit about how Project Refit helps people. So how many people has Project Refit helped to date since 5 years now?
Yeah, I mean, that's thousands easily. Whether that's, I mean, like I've had guys that I served with call me with the gun in their mouth, ready to kill themselves.
Oh, wow.
We had a conversation. I critically listened, which for anybody listening now, that's what you have to do. Do not respond to everything they're saying. Listen to what they're saying and let them, like I said in the beginning, just dump what is in their mind. Let them dump it. Be supportive, obviously, but don't be sitting there. Well, no, you have to think this way. Let them talk. Squirrel there.
You good. Let them talk. Let's get their voice out there.
Right before that, what was I saying?
I lost too. Sorry.
Yes, we're good then. It's blank slate.
Yeah. We're good. We're both in the same TBI area.
So that makes it so much easier.
Yes, it does.
Don't have to waste the energy on trying to bring it back. But yeah, it's
everyone listening can understand what we're doing.
Yes, yeah.
I hope.
If they can, this is a little insight on it. I mean, I'm literally talking about it. The thought is here and then gone.
Yeah, and my cousin just posted as well. This is great information for those of us who haven't been through what we have, especially when she works in the public social work area like she does. Mm-hmm. It helps them understand where they may be where they're coming from, she can also help those out there. So
yeah,
this tells me
you can give her my contact information too. If she has like questions out after this, I would be more than happy to give her an hour's view of it. You know what I mean?
She's 100% closer to you than I am right now. She's in New Jersey, so it's perfect.
Nice. So that's actually, I want to say that too. So we aren't just for the service members. This is for the support systems also. So that's your spouse, your parents, your siblings, your friends, your cousin. If there is somebody that is in your life that is close to you, they have to be mentally good too.
Right.
If they need help, we will help them also. So that's why I'm saying it's not just for the first responders, the veterans, corrections officers also. It's for everybody that's involved in whether it's projecting, what we've experienced. Another thing is, I think a lot of, and this is just good, I'm completely new topic. I think a lot of veterans or people who have been through trauma, but specifically, I'm not trying to exclude anybody, but I'm speaking on experience from this. So for combat veterans, I feel like we don't want to talk about what we saw or did because we know how it affects our brains. And I love you. And I don't want your brain to be my brain. I know how bad my brain is now. I wouldn't want you even, and I think not actually seeing it firsthand and hearing about what it is worse because then you can fabricate whatever image you think. It's not the actual image. So it could be 1,000 times worse than what I actually saw. And now you have that. No. But, and that's a valid thought and feeling to have for us. But on the flip side of that, back to the support system, we need them. It's that simple. We need our support system. They need to know why we are the way we are. They don't need to know every single detail, but they need to know what potentially caused it. Hey, I was blown up. I was on fire for some time. I'm having a hard time dealing with that. It could be that simple. But just saying I'm fine, I didn't see anything, I didn't go through anything. For females, the MSTs, for it, and that's a whole separate ballpark there. You know what I mean? That's a whole different beast right there. Open up and talk to somebody about what you're going through. It's we feel alone. We feel like everybody thinks like we do, and it's not the case. People think differently. And I think we just get lost in these dark places, and there's so many cliches and analogies. My mind I try and like stay away from them because they're losing their merit in my mind. But I think the only ones who can reach us when we're in that dark place is our support system and the people we did those things with.
Right.
So I think if you continuously have them in your life, even if it's a monthly checkup, this whole messages, seeing our boys or our people on Facebook, hey, what's up? Hey, they're posting depressing, suicidal things, and you're typing, call me if you need me. No, call them now. You call them. They will never call you. They haven't. They're posting on Facebook. That's the cry for help. I don't under. We're waiting for. I feel like people are waiting for some magical entity to be like, all right, you guys are all back together now. It's never going to happen. We have to make us be back together.
Exactly.
So we don't talk about this because it isn't finished, but we have an app. It's called Project Refit Blue Skies. Actually, I have to talk about my sergeant major really quick before that. So Gunny, he was a Marine for 6 years and then Army for 22. So he was our command sergeant major. He was 75th Ranger, and then he came down to our line unit. So he, dude, this man was a legend. Like he was a man above men. Like his job, this was his life. And he was made for it, truly. So, like most command sergeant majors, they're sitting in the talk, they're doing managers, they're not going out. He was on missions all day, every day, all day. That's all he did. So we were on a mission with the ANA, and they had gotten ambushed. So we whipped up our QRF, and he hopped on it, and he was passing an ammo box up to a 50 cal ammo box up to one of the guys I graduated basic training with, actually. And just when he lifted it up, his side plate rose, and a round went right, left, went right through it. So we had a medevac already on the way. So he got stabilized on scene, stabilized back at base, flown to Germany, flown to San Antonio. We made his story a part of Project Refit, and one of the flight medics that brought him from Germany to San Antonio found Project Refit somehow, and she messaged us and said, "Yo, this is the first time we've ever gotten closure. We've never seen what happened to somebody we transported. It's never, we have that mystery. There's grief that they can't consolidate." They said that he woke up in the middle of the flight and was demanding to get sent back. He wanted to know how we were, and they're like reassuring him we're all good, which we were. No one else got hurt. So he went to San Antonio. They did a skin graft on his artery, and then throughout the night, the skin graft gave away, and he unfortunately bled to death. So something he would say when we would come back from mission. So for those of you not infantry or don't know that world, infantry has a blue cord. It's like a light blue. Only the infantry get it. So there's ego there, whatever you want to call it. There's pride. There's bravado to it. You also have a CI base, so they're all teal blue. So when we would come back from mission and there was no IEDs, nobody got hurt, we're good. It was a successful mission. Gunny would say, "Blue skies, boys. Blue sky. We got another day." You know what I mean? So Project Refit Blue Skies is the app's name, and essentially it is going to be a hub for resources for veterans and first responders. It's actually going to be the only part of Project Refit that is only for veterans and first responders, where civilians are not allowed onto it. So the main thing, you remember MySpace?
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
You remember you had your top 8?
All right.
So in our app, you have top 5. It's called your fire team. So you pick it. It's your friends. When you hit vent, so there's a button and it says vent. When you hit that, you call all 5 of them at the same time. And if one of them don't answer, it goes to the rest of your friends on the app. And if within 30 seconds to a minute, and if they don't answer, it goes to anybody on the app that has anybody on the app. It goes to them. They get the call. Essentially, somebody who has done a service, whether it be first responder or veteran, gets somebody to talk to who generally understands what they've been through. Got to raise money for that. Drexel helped build that. Drexel built the first iteration of it, but we need to get a developer that either is willing to volunteer their time, which that'd be amazing. I'd love that, but we need to get money to obviously hire a developer. We would prefer a veteran to hire a veteran or you know what I mean, an ex-cop, ex-firefighter, whatever it is, developer to maintain that. But that's neither here nor there. That's still in the works.
Awesome, man. It sounds like you're definitely on the right path. And Sergeant Major Barreras is a great man. I've read his profile on your site, and we have a quote here: "Best NCO in the entirety of the U.S. Army, something for all to strive for." From Mr. Nobody. I think we both know who Mr. Nobody is. I won't mention his name because he's a secretive person, a secret squirrel kind of guy. But it's amazing that one man can touch so many people the way he has, and lives on through Project Refit right now.
Absolutely,
and that's a great thing. That's a testament to him.
You got to keep that legacy alive. I think that's if anybody listening needs a purpose, if you're looking for that purpose, I think keeping the people we've lost, keeping their legacies alive is a good enough purpose. To at least to start with, you know what I mean? It's something to start with, and you can build from that. But if we don't keep their legacies alive, they get lost to history. Like something that pains me, something I want to do with Project Refit, actually, I want to get seriously involved with assisted living and senior homes, because we have these Vietnam, Korean War, and World War II vets who have all of these amazing powerful stories and knowledge, and they're staring at walls with no stimulation. There's nothing there. I want to start a program where we're there. We're talking to these guys, men and women that have been through. The one VFW near me had a World War II veteran who was 105, and he was a surgeon during World War II.
Wow.
I want to pick that man's brain. I want to know everything that man has seen. That is insane. So yeah, I think it's our duty now to keep those people who've influenced us, who essentially made us who we are. I mean, many of the people who met Gunny, they strive to be what we believe he was, what he embodied. You know what I mean? He set the bar for I was a baby private. I was an E1. He set that was a great leader. He was the leader. You know what I mean? Like no leader has ever topped him either. I've had some influential ones, but he was the one who collectively did the most for all of us. After that first IED where I got burnt up, I couldn't go back out on missions for a month. Some of it for the brain damage, but I also didn't have everything burned. They don't have there's no spares laying around. So I got, you know what I mean? So I had acquired everything except side plates. So I was walking in the motor pool and Gunny and I crossed paths and he said, "Hey, Lombard, you were in that IED, right?" I was like, "Yeah, Roger, Star Major." He said, "How are you?" I said, "We're here." And I told him about I said, a little hot still, but hey, it is what it is. So I told him basically that I can't go back on missions because I don't have side plates. He said, "Hold on, I have an extra pair. I'll give them to you when we get back to the States. Just give me them back." And I was like, "Cool." So he passed, and I still had the side plates. So I actually gave one of them to one of our other guys, Mo. He was with us in Afghanistan. He's on our board actually. He was there when Gunny actually got shot. He saw Gunny get shot, and Gunny holds a very special place for him. Him and Gunny had many personal conversations where I had like 3 or 4. So it's not, you know what I mean? It wasn't the same. So I gave Mo one of Gunny's side plates just because I feel like that's something he would appreciate.
That's outstanding, and that's keep that legacy alive as well through you and Mo as well, and also through Project Refit, because he's part of your board, you're part of the founding fathers of it. You and Mr. Corbett there, both are the founding fathers of it. So that keeps that legacy alive of Sergeant Major Barreras, and that's something a lot of people should understand, that the bond between brothers in the military and the bond between brothers in the first responding world, it's tight and it's hard to understand if you're not inside that circle.
I don't think you can. I think it's you can't fathom what it's like. I think like these are the things people make fun of, like they're cults and stuff, but it's truly not. It is an inseparable relationship. You've built this bond that, especially like with the people you've deployed with, that you've almost died with, that you survived with, like that's what I was going back to, that tribal mentality. So I think we unlock a little bit of it when we go through those types of things, and you can't close that door once we open that door again. So we yearn for that tribal dude, I would love if we still operated like that in America, in the world. If we operated on that collective it'd be great. It's a fantasy, obviously, but it would be great. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a wild horse, I guess, but we need to start taking this more seriously. Like people are like shocked that people are killing them. This is nothing new.
No, not at all.
It's not like it's a new thing within the last 5-10 years. This has been a common pattern. And what I have personally seen from experience and talking to other veterans, especially Vietnam veterans, and older ones like that, is talking about it with people who understand at least the game, you know what I mean, the military game, or the hot ranking structure, whatever it is. They understand even a portion of it. That's what makes us feel better.
Exactly.
I haven't, even talking about all this stuff right now, I haven't been in pain through any of it. I feel good talking about it because I'm talking about it with somebody who appreciates it and understands it. So I think it's important to find people like that you can talk to. I think that is the magic pill that everyone's looking for. It's find somebody you trust, find a support system that you can talk to, and they're going to give you sound quality advice. They're not going to yes you to death. They're not going to say everything's going to be fine, because it's not. That's the gimmick to it all. Some things are going to suck.
There's always going to be that breaking point for every person.
Yes.
You talk about tribal living. I think the book Tribe by Sebastian Younger is one of a better book to talk about tribe. There, it tells you how tribalism worked for us. Like even in Afghanistan, where all this happened to you, and where I got wounded as well. Every person in Afghanistan lives via the tribe mentality, and if you don't understand having a tribe behind you is having the family that you had growing up. The family you had growing up is blood, but then the family you have, like we had in the military, is the family that's going to be there forever. It's the brothers and sisters that are there forever, and they give you that no question asked favor for the rest of your life.
And that bond is stronger than blood.
Right.
I don't think people understand that. That bond is stronger than blood.
It's there forever, and it's amazing, and that's how the MisFitNation started, and I'm glad to have you on here tonight.
I'm glad you have this, dude. This is a beautiful thing you have.
Talked for the last hour, and it's like talking to a little brother, because you're a lot younger than me, obviously.
Yeah, and, appreciate it.
Thanks for Mike for bringing us two together. Yes. He will never admit that he did this to us and brought us together. And that's amazing that he did that. Yeah. So I appreciate him doing that for us. And
I did too. I'm going to
get you on here.
Have a call with him later.
Definitely. So, Dan, how does someone get involved with Project Refit to help you move this thing forward and help all the people that you're helping?
Sure. So we're at Project Refit, REFIT, on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. If you want to volunteer for us, go to projectrefit.us. You'll see a volunteer tab, and you just fill out a form and you tell us your strengths and where you think you'd be best to help us. Like I said, we have the Zooms on Monday and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern until around midnight. If you want to join in on that, this is for anybody. You go on our website, projectrefit.us, and the very first thing you see is join Zoom. You click that and it'll take you right to us. My email is d@projectrefit.us. So if you want to contact me, if you want to, if you have somewhere you think we could help somebody, some big event that you think we'd be good to go to, anything along those lines, reach out, and I'd be more than happy to have a conversation.
Definitely, and I think hopefully our listeners will jump in and help you out as well. And I'm more than willing to jump in and be part of Project Refit as well, as a representative of the MisFitNation as well.
Absolutely. You're welcome in our Zooms. You're welcome to come market, broadcast MisFitNation. We're all for veteran and first responder owned things. Come on our Zoom, talk about it, get it out there, let people know it exists. So, like I said, the Monday ones live stream. I'm not on the Monday ones because I'm in school right now, but we can clip the Friday one most likely. If not, we can just get you on a Monday one, and you can talk about it on there, and I'll interview you next time.
Awesome. Flip the mic. I love flipping the mic.
Yep.
All right. So, Dan, thanks again for jumping on here. This has been a great hour-long conversation. It didn't even seem that long.
I know.
And it's always great to talk to brothers in arms and brothers that have been through the same stuff we have. And we appreciate everything you've done and what you're doing now.
I appreciate you very much. Thank you for having me. It's always comfortable talking to somebody, comforting, talking to somebody understands. You broke down about all of the walls. You know what I mean? There was no apprehensiveness whatsoever. So I appreciate that.
Hey, no problem. That's what we're here for. All right. We'll talk to you next time.
Yes, sir.
From MisFitNation. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for Project Refit. And tomorrow will be a reunion of the Dog Pound from the 411th Chemical Company from Camp Kilmer in Edison, New Jersey. My first unit. So it'll be a lot of trash talk, a lot of back and forth. So please join in tomorrow at 7 p.m. for tomorrow's veteran episode. Thank you. Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com to catch up on all of our episodes and also to get some of that great Misfit Nation gear. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are